Hello and welcome to this session of Rokugan Free from the Yoke, or Free from the Yoke Rokugan, as it is written probably in the titles of this. This session is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. The Gauntlet is an online gaming community. The gaming calendar that we have has tons of games on it each month. We have an online open gaming event coming up in mid-October. Signups for that are open on October 1st at 10 a.m. It's free. If you're like, hey, I've been watching these things, I'd like to play one of these games, come and check that out. Come and play with us, do a session, try it out, see what you dig. We'll help onboard you. Rules will be taught, all of that kind of stuff. It's super fun. But all of the information from that can be found at gauntlet-rpg.com. Patrick, Tyler watched videos and joined us. That's how they joined the group. That's how I joined, was watching Rich Rogers, and he brought me in. So it's great. So again, we're playing Free from the Yoke, which is a variant of Legacy Life Among the Ruins, and we're using a Legend of the Five Rings sort of reskin. One of our goals here is to not necessarily descend into the sort of the honor fetishism and weirdness that we see in L5R. Rokugan is still crazy mishmash of different times and places. It's King Arthur fighting the Spanish Armada alongside Beowulf while the Pope rules in Paris. It's that kind of level of crisscross melange. But we're playing it because there's some cool, interesting fantasy things to be done in here, some cool setups. And this is a generational game. Right now, we have an Emperor Toturi. He has a project that has been put on the table. We established that last time after the year change. We went forward several years. We dealt a lot of kind of zoom in on the different key characters to get a sense of where they are. And now with that in place, we're going to move up and take a look at what the families are doing here. So Shinjo Hikaru and our Unicorn Clan. Now the Unicorn Clan, mood is a 0. So even on needs and surpluses, so you're in a decent position here.
Yeah, I'm also at 3 and 3, so things are heavy. If I lost some surpluses, I have a bunch of needs, and vice versa.
So what is it that the Unicorn Clan are doing then? You spoke about, some desire to get revenge on the Scorpion, some other projects. What are you doing?
So we have the Emperor's project going on with the Ronin and rehabilitating them, regaining their honor, which from a sort of absolute standpoint, I'm sure sounds great, but is not something I think the unicorns want to happen.
Interesting.
It's they're convinced with some possibly questionable evidence that the Scorpions are partially behind this push and are going to have a large gain off of it. It's also Toturi trying to inflate his ranks and enforce his sense of honor and rightness on everyone. And also, if the whole kingdom empire sticks to the idea that Ronin are honorless and shunned and should not be taken up again, and we as the singular clan that stands outside of those rules stand to benefit from being nice to the ones that deserve being nice to. There are a lot of reasons. I'm against the whole thing.
Okay. So what are
past
you
that,
doing?
I've got some personal things going on with Hikaru, but so I need to hit one of those doom entanglements. So I think I need to incite some sort of protest against things.
That would seem like a subterfuge. of some kind, right?
Yeah. And we're already in a rough sort of position, so I really don't want to get caught from the outset by the Emperor or his agents doing something against his work. So I think I'd like to set up an anonymous action.
Okay. So, uh,
Or how does that work? I'm thinking of Shattered City some. How does that
so,
work?
so we did put this in. So subterfuge we have, they remove any trace of your own involvement from your next house move. So it is kind of a
That's it.
setup.
That's it.
Okay. So
So,
it's laying in the preparations there.
and I think where I want to push at is the vigilant keep of the monkey.
Mm-hmm.
They have a sort of merchant hiring service go. I think that's what's helping the Monkey Clan get up in things and rise. And so that's going to be threatened if everyone can just go out and attract wandering Ronin. So I want to get some agents into there and start muddying the water and confusing things.
Interesting. Okay. Again, to mark out the vigilant keep of the monkey lies between the Phoenix clan lands and the Unicorn clan lands, with the lion just below. So let's have you roll sleight.
All right. Am I good at any of this? I'm all right at sleight. Wow, and that is an 11 plus 1 is 12.
That is a 12. Well, with a 12, you do it and you lay in those foundations. On screen, we'll see, some of your scouts, they change clothes and they go in, and we see them mingling and in this newly established, probably a stronghold that's being kind of rebuilt that the monkey are overseeing, and we see them in there talking, gauging plans, listening, gathering information, all of that kind of thing there.
Nice.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Then let's come to the crab.
So, unlike the unicorn, the crab have always accepted Ronin into their ranks. If you will fight against the threat of the Shadowlands, they will, and you have that capability and that ability to take orders, they will take you into their ranks. And they churn through those people. If they have any uncertainty about it, it is that Ronin now would have more opportunities elsewhere, cushier ones. But for the most part, it is easiest for them as a clan to make that gesture to assist with the project, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So how do you plan on doing that? And did the Emperor? What was your role last time? Did you?
It was a moderate role.
Okay.
He assigned the Cooney representative to find the corruption in one of the great clans that
That's right.
his seers had visions of.
And I believe that you discovered, at least from your people, that corruption lay amongst the Crane clan.
Correct. That is what I was told.
That's what you were told. So what is it you want to do to help out with this project?
Here's the thing. For this, justice is a resource that would assist the project. It is something that we have a surplus of. And I believe that we have an ability that allows us to move dispersed things without problem.
You can move martial surpluses if they're dispersed.
Yes.
But even you don't even have to worry about that, because your mood is a 3.
Right.
So you don't even have to do that logistics. There's
Okay.
no penalty. It will happen. So tell me, what do we see on screen? How is it that you are putting the resource of justice that the crab have towards this project?
Because they have always accepted Ronin into their ranks, they are the ones that go and say, here are how you set the tests. And, you know, the challenge is you must look to your duty to the emperor and find those who are the best suited. And, you know, and essentially they have already a whole set of, like, you go through these processes, they fit into your families in this way. Or, you know, it's not about making them a new family. It's about bringing them into an existing family that will accept them because they are useful to them, that I mean, essentially that has a place for them, if that makes any sense. And of course, since the clan is always suffering from losses, they always have a place for people. But they have, like, you know, full rituals and, you know, the whole thing of bringing someone in and, you know, and yes.
Absolutely. So you will remove that surplus.
Okay.
We will mark one progress on the track there, and you will gain a favor,
Okay.
because certainly if you want to be in the emperor's good graces, to gain favor and to get attention, this is one of the ways to do that. Let us come to Doji Satsumi, who knows nothing of the viper that lies next to his breast, of the taint that is within his clan.
Well,
Supposedly. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But you did have a warning from your
Though-
Kakita.
Yeah, I do know. There's a lot on the plate of the crane at the moment.
Yeah.
The Kakita have told me that there is something that has corrupted the style. I need to look into that and help however I can. I have to go and meet with some dragons to try and bring them back into the court and be active, since that's what my emperor asked me. We have the project going on. I have my silk works I desperately need to get, and of course I'm doing it all with a broken heart. Oh,
Tragedy.
tragedy.
Too tragic story.
So I think first I'm going to help the project get along.
Oh.
I think the first action we're going to do is we're going to give morale to the project, and that is reflected in I think that Satsumi is going to call in, because as the new Daimyo, things that had happened in the past are the past, and he's going to bring in the last 5 samurai who went Ronin from Crane.
Interesting. And I assume putting some of your poets and things to work to back that up.
Absolutely.
So tell me, who is the model person that you bring back into the fold? Like, you want to find someone who didn't become a Ronin because of horrible reasons. So who is your Ronin poster boy?
My Ronin poster boy is was a samurai of Crane, and made it through the battle of the 2 daimyos, fighting beside the returned daimyo, the true daimyo. And then when he heard of the shame of the capitulation that the former daimyo had done, he chose to leave Crane. But now that I have assumed this new place, I have gone to him, and I invited him in, gave him honor, and treated with him as someone who has always been Crane, who stood by his morals. There is no reason for you to be outside of this house. You're muted, my love.
Am I? So yes. So that's perfect. So you may remove morale.
Yep.
Your favorite's already at the max,
It is.
so we don't need to do that. But we will increase the progress clock we are 40% of the way towards the completion of that project. So we have to find a good crane picture there, don't we? Let's see here. I will go and grab, see if I have it, and look and see. I might have a one readily at hand. If I don't, then I will just move straight on to Patrick here. Find my little L5R folder.
I love the Crane pictures. They're always so awesome.
Yeah. Do I have those? There and check. You're muted.
You also need a picture of the poster boy for the scorpion.
Oh, that's right.
That was a Ronin. He's not called by Yushi Hisaka, or did the scorpion bring him back in?
I guess he went to the Emperor's household instead of back
Yeah,
to
so
Scorpion.
he would be
Yeah.
Toturi Hisaka.
That's true.
Take that, Scorpion.
Of course, everyone everywhere is shaking their head and going, Tori's just taking a scorpion into his house.
Don't you see the evil plans they've laid out? Toturi's gonna suck up the lion's share of these, and they're all gonna be scorpions, then they're all gonna be next to the Emperor.
Yes, and then they'll poison him again, so we'll start the cycle over.
Okay, I've got a crane picture in there, and then we'll see if we can find a good.
He looks like the kind of guy who would leave when he found out that his clan was compromised.
And I will find a good sort of neutral figure, a maskless figure for the.
Actually, the one that I have under Hataro Shin you can use, because I was going to have that as my magistrate buddy, but I did end up taking that
Okay.
particular.
You can.
And that's an awesome pick.
Okay, we'll move them over, or you can move that over.
Why don't you just change the name?
Oh.
Cut, paste.
What?
There you go.
And then change that to Toturi. Okay. So now we've done all that because we love paper dolls. So
Yes.
for those of you at home, Tyler has suggested that I be better about providing pictures, which I think is a great idea because Jamila does this and it is awesome. So we can see here our picture of Toturi Hisaka, and then we scroll down and we can see Doji Mansu, who is the new returning Crane Clan Ronin poster boy. I'll scroll up a little bit so you can see these are many of the mantises. And then here's Emperor Toturi and the two battling unicorn daimyos, and lots of good stuff there. So the two battling sort of crab daimyos as well. Okay. So news will reach Shinjo Hikaru and the unicorn family that both the crab and the crane have turned their resources strongly towards supporting this project.
They bought into this foolish plan.
So what do you want to do? Do you want to
Obviously,
pursue your
I'll
battle against this, or do you have other plans?
I'll definitely need to talk to at least one of them, if not both, and do have other plans, but I think we need to, before this whole thing runs away from me, I need to at least get something out on the table there.
Okay. So what do you want to do?
So, checking. I don't think I have anything in particular for my house. No, but I do want to try and stir up things there in the keep, the vigilant keep there. I want to try and see if I can get convince some of the like merchant companies to do a strike, a demonstration sort of thing, where they like call all their people back and refuse to do any work for a week and stand outside and talk about the shame of these Ronin coming back to their various houses, that sort of thing.
So do you feel that that's, read the wind to figure out how you're going to do that? Or do you feel it's just subterfuge? What do you, how do you want to read this?
Yeah, I think it's probably a get influence and see how to see if I can convince them to do that with the influence.
Absolutely. So this is subterfuge again.
Oh, do the scandal thing?
Yeah, I think the scandal feels like.
Okay,
Does that feel right?
Yeah. I was also looking to read the wind, but I forgot that we have multiple avenues for that.
Yeah, it's a little more direct, but it does require you being a little more heinous.
It's a 5 + 1, which is, hold on a second. I think it's 7, not 6.
It is 6. I assume that you don't want to call for aid.
No, and I don't have any influence to call on because,
it would be our influence.
Oh, but I could try and, spend an influence to try and tempt one of you to back me up.
I think that when you go to do this, that this sparks a debate in the houses of the daimyo of the unicorn. And I think that your Moto daimyo is like, this is foolish, indirect, and weak. And I would like you to roll hold together.
Can they call out that it's something the Scorpion would try?
Oh yeah, they'll do that.
Nice. Oh, everything's going wrong. Hold together is
Mood.
Oh, mood. So it's just some dice. That's a 4.
Oh no.
That is a 4.
I don't think this is the moment, but this
Right.
definitely gives me a solid step down the path of the Moto thing.
I think that this is going to cost you morale. Like, you might have been able to hold this together and maybe actually, keep things, but this infighting breaks out. And I think the unicorn find themselves divided on this. And it's worrisome.
Ooh.
That
Are
seems
you
fair.
going to do another hold together? Are you planning for another one of those, or are you going to switch to Moto now?
I'm hoping for another one. I think that is a solid, like, if there's another one that comes up, I think that's definitely the next step.
But where does Shinjo Hikaru fall on this? Like, when this breaks out, where do we see Shinjo? Is Shinjo even there? or is Shinjo present? And if so, where does their allegiance fall? That was a gunshot.
I think
That's another gunshot.
so. I think in the in like the subterfuge action scenes that we see in the Vigilant Keep, Hikaru is definitely there, like in beggar's robes, sort of on the street, and you see him whispering and sort of being a part of this. And when it just leads to like, it doesn't push anywhere, and when a lot of the agents get called back for this debate, he goes back angrily to speak up in Miho, I think is the good one, the Shinjo one, to speak up in her name, and being there and hearing the arguments from the Moto about how this is Scorpion tactics and this is a path our family should never be going down, actually like strikes him. You see him sit back in his chair sort of breathless from that.
When one of the Moto, when you talk for Shinjo Miho, one of the Moto turns to you and says, "You would defend these Scorpion tactics? You who have lost so much, so many of your efforts thrown away?"
I think he gets tongue-tied and loses the thread of his argument and like cedes his time early and refuses to meet Miho's eyes as she's just like, what the fuck happened up there?
And this shouldn't have happened. At least people outside the clan didn't hear about this because you hid those strings. But clearly, no one was to have known. This was to have been done quietly, and now that it's out in the open, it's Miho doesn't know how to quite handle it. Let's come to the crab again. Muted.
Yes. So I think that we are crab. And the word is that the cranes suffer from the corruption within. So I believe that they will reach out and ask if they may make those investigations so that they may clear the name of the Crane clan. Implied that clearing it might mean some people have to be killed, but still, kind of. But very much, and it is that thing of the Kuni and, essentially their people would be the ones who make that offer.
Well, number one, please take influence over the Crane clan due to your alliance move. So do we want to resolve this as a meeting, or do you think there's a move here that you want to do?
So that's an interesting thing, because essentially what it is that when we come to do that, is there a thing where you do an investigation and, or what would this thing fall under?
I think this falls under...
Find common ground, call for, what is it?
Do you mean doing the investigation of these Shadowlands?
Yes.
I think that you need to read the wind.
Okay.
To be able to kind of ask and figure out whether it's true or not. And if so, what can be done?
All right. And I do think that, how do you say, that the Kuni are more than willing to use Haruma Reiko as a bargaining chip to get Doji Satsumi's permission. Yeah, attention, permission.
So do you want to spend that influence right away to give yourself advantage on this roll?
I hate dice, but sure. Let's do that. Let's rip the bandage off.
Then roll reach with advantage.
That is something the crane doesn't have, but if I can find my mouse, I can check off that box and I will have the advantage.
Now, hang on. I do have to ask this. Tyler, are you willing to allow for that call in a debt to give advantage on this roll? Essentially, because you can refuse that, but then you have to roll hold together.
I absolutely would allow her to go anywhere she wants to.
Absolutely.
I could deny her nothing.
Don't say that. It's dice. Oh, God. So I get a 7. Yay. No, I get a 7, I guess.
What is your question?
I mean, the closest
modify
one
these.
is who are the identities of those corrupted, if any? I guess is what it is. You know, what are the movements of a particular group? But it is that group of who it is that might be corrupted.
There are a small group of Asahina craftsmen.
So it's not the Kakita?
Who one of the great sort of dark figures among the Maho and the Bloodspeak was Asahina Yanjindin, who made the blood swords. And these are disillusioned Asahina from the betrayal of the Doji Crane daimyo and this embrace of Ronin. They feel that nothing is true anymore. Nothing is sacred and anything is permitted. And they started just by, unsealing the secrets of Yajindin and the dark techniques, and it went downhill from there. And they have been crafting things that are tainted and sending them out.
So I think that what the Empire hears is that there's a terrible fire, and a number of the Asahina, holdings are destroyed. Some people lost.
That is a different move.
Oh, is it to hide it? Okay.
To take care to purge this and hide it, I think is going to be claimed by force.
Oh shit. Oh well, at least we're good at that. But okay. Yes, so we know who it is. And the thing is that of course with the Kuni, the first thing that they do is begin tracing where those items have begun, even before they get to killing these things, because they need to get as much of that information as possible.
So why don't you roll claim by force?
So this is 2. I get to add grasp, which I think have an amazing +1 on.
Here, I'll put a dark tainted Asahina picture in there.
Thanks. All right, I rolled 12.
A 12.
Yes, because this is what we do.
So let's look at the clan move. I think you do have to pick one from the list, but you will be able to eliminate these Maho. And effectively complete the task that the emperor set to you with skill and precision.
Yes, it's clear from the claim by force that I'm enjoying all that skill and precision. Let's see here. So I think it's going to be, it's not completely ours here, and it is specifically because of those items that we will have to hunt those down.
So what surplus do you want to tie to that keeping it down?
Wow, that's a good question. What do you think makes sense?
Well, let's look at your clan sheet. I think actually Jade, essentially commit your Jade to that, to sending that out with your agents.
Isn't it a new one that I get, but it's not really ours? We would get a new one that isn't ours. Maybe honor, or
So what is not completely yours yet, and what you haven't completely finished, is the elimination of these Maho.
right. So safety, but it's safety for the crane.
Okay. So do you want to gain? What I'm asking is what you're going to, the thing that you're getting is, rather
Yes.
than a resource or surplus, is you're getting this effect, is that you're
okay.
this and completing the task that the emperor has set to you.
Okay.
And what resource do you want to tie to that?
It would be Jade. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I didn't understand. It reads like you were going to get something from the
I was
force.
tremendously unclear on that.
Okay.
But you will be able to do that, and as long as nobody incites the Maho in the meantime, then you won't have to worry about that Jade going away.
Yeah, because no one would incite
No one.
the Maho.
Yeah, Patrick. I mean, but no one would, and yeah. So, and let me see what happens when I need to check one thing: favorite ages. And when you complete that task, if you still have that in hand at the end, you'll gain another favor at the end.
There is no more favor.
Well, you might lose some before then, so who knows?
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Doji Satsume. Let us return to the crane. The crab handled this quietly. They pass news on to the emperor, but they do not.
I don't even know, do I? I mean, I know of probably the fire or the whatever, but I don't know why it happened.
No, you know.
Oh, okay.
You would definitely know. We wouldn't destroy your holdings without telling you. We would go to you and say, this is as much on you as it is on the crab.
Oh.
Does that make any sense? And they
Oh,
go,
yeah.
They're
I was just
corrupted.
thinking you'd done it and I didn't know. Oh.
No. That's just how we would hide it, that it was that.
Is it you personally that comes to tell me?
Yes.
And I think that, it would be you coming to the throne room sort of thing, and I would send everyone away. And when you finish telling me, yes, it must happen. Rico, you continue to look out for me.
She bows and she says, I am fortunate to be able to look upon you again.
It is glorious like a knife to the heart, my love.
And she touches her heart too. So,
okay.
Yep.
So yeah. So I knowing of it, I'm grateful to have had this expunged from us, and will give whatever aid I need to make sure you can track these down.
Let me ask you this, Doji Satsumi. The crab come quietly and tell you this. Then there's a number of the Asahina who die in this tragic fire.
Mm-hmm.
Do you tell the rest of the clan?
Well,
or is this a secret that you keep?
I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
Since Rico came to me into my home, does that count for my voice on the wind? She visited my embassy, right?
Right, to ask for information?
Yeah.
So what is the question that's being asked?
Where have those objects been sent to?
No. How many of my clan knew this was going on?
So this is you, but that's you asking the question, right?
Well, see, that's because you added on that. This also may be done when someone visits one of your embassies.
Basically that they can also go to one of your embassies and ask you.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Then it would be up to you, Sherry, if you'd ask. I'm sorry. I thought there was somewhere in there a tag that I got to use if someone came to my embassy. Sorry.
Certainly, if your concern is to understand who in your clan may be caught.
I mean, would you have asked you could have asked where they went.
Yeah, I think that would be what she would ask, is where those items would go to, since they would have been shipped out from the crane thing. And you can lie to me, of course, but
Oh, I wouldn't do that. What do I hear? Well,
Most of the listings of things are fairly minor bits and pieces that don't go anywhere that you should worry about. However, one of the pieces went to a name that you will recognize, Naganori Riko.
that's the brother, or
That's the sister who is kind of being, staying with the unicorn. A gift sent on to her. Not something that she asked for, but a gift that was given.
I will inform Rico of all of them but that one.
Okay.
but she already hates Shinju Hikaru.
So what do you do after that, Doji Setsume? You have this information.
Okay.
You've left out, you haven't lied to your love, but you certainly omitted a key detail.
I intend to have it handled because I would like to invoke my clan ritual. I am trying to get in touch with Hikaru.
Then you're going to enact a ritual. This is a ritual with that your clan knows. So you can decide, you could take the 7 to 9 result without even rolling.
Yeah.
Or you could roll the ritual with advantage, or you could opt to do the ritual, roll it, and suffer no bane.
I'm going with that 7 to 9. I swear I'm good at lore, but I just love a 7 to 9.
So you will get 1 blessing. What is it that you want from the blessings?
I'm going to take, so I get 1 blessing. I'm going to say that I'm going to limit your banes.
Okay.
The lance creatures avoid attack, watch, or crave you. That one's out.
Okay.
And I'm going to also get rid of warps my body.
What is the memory of Raiko that you have to give up?
Oh. even though now I know it was the false emperor, there was a ball. We already knew each other. We already felt for each other. But it was the first one where we danced in front of everyone and didn't care what they said.
And that's gone. You don't remember that at all. It's vanished. Shinjo Hikaru, where are you when you can feel the change of magic around you, the spirits of the kami, that invocation? Where are you when you are reached by Doji Setsume?
It's a very dramatic, emotional time for Hikaru. So he's obviously at the top of something very tall. There's the cliffs and waterfalls that fall down into the Shinjo family holdings.
Mm-hmm.
So he's up at the top of those cliffs, watching the water fall down and looking down at the Shinjo holdings from above.
And Doji Setsume, what does Shinjo Hikaru see?
And you don't have to accept the communication if you don't want. But I think you see, because I do the mirror that I go to speak, and I reach out and touch it. But for you, there as you are watching down below from above, a crane is beginning to circle down, down, down. It seems to be ready to light next to you.
Sort of bemusedly step to the side out of its way.
As it lands, as its feet touch the ground, and it's me.
Oh.
Hello, my friend.
And it's a great distance, and even with the magic, there's that little bit of warping, so it is a little bit hard to tell. The spell is not perfect. He's not a Shugenja, and he's not perfect. So there is some weird sound cutting out in places as he speaks to you.
Setsume, is that you?
Yes, I needed to speak to you. I've learned something troubling.
Yes.
Your ward, remind me again, the family
Naganori Riko. R-I-K-O.
Naganori.
Riko.
The Nabanori that resides with you. There was, I'm ashamed to say, a corruption that entered Crane. It has been expunged. But the results of it have gone out into the world.
Sort of corruption.
Items. Creations that are tainted. She has one. It was sent as a gift. She did not ask. I have told no one, my friend, because I think I would rather you took it from her, convinced her to give it up. But it is not minor. And if she cannot, I will have to tell the Crab Magistrate.
It's been a sort of friendly conversation of doom. He stiffens his back at you talking about bringing in outside people.
Rika is the one who searches this down.
Thank you for the information. The unicorns, we're not strangers to cursed items and have developed ways of dealing with them. But these ways they're difficult rituals. They require a willing participant.
Let's convince
I-
her.
There is only one thing that can convince her. Her brother. Her brother is out there somewhere, and I've not been able to track down any word of his location yet.
I look. Whether I find him or not, that item must be destroyed or returned to Crane so that I can have it destroyed. I have already misled Raiko. I will not deny her her quest. It must be destroyed.
The only other way besides the ritual that we know of breaking a cursed connection like that is death. Which is all that I have brought to her family, all that I have brought to her clan and her holdings. I will not do that to her again.
Perhaps she has not even used it. Again, she did not ask for it. It was inflicted, and that is my shame. It remaining with her, that will be ours.
You've delivered your warning. You know what I would hear from you next. Leave until you can say it.
Yes, my friend. And I think you see from the top down, it transforms to that crane, and then it just sort of explodes to feathers and is gone.
Oh,
Just a whirlwind of feathers, not a.
Yeah, not like eating a cherry bomb, no.
Right. It's not a Monty Python moment. Shinjo Karu.
hmm. I've got him off looking for the brother and still don't have any great leads on that. Smith is not really great. Rituals either. No, not quite. But I need to make sure that Naganori Riko is still there and together when we can get things in line for her, because she is, I think, Hikaru's last line of hope. Miho has screwed things up royally with some of her failed moves, and the blessing of the Kirin is, I think, the only thing that's going to stop the advance of the Moto at this point. So I guess I need to find out about what she was given, how far this corruption has gone, if any.
That seems to me like to get the full details on that's forgotten lore. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
You'll get basic information. I'll give you some things, but this is if you want to dig to get the full picture.
These days, it's the wrong place. Lore is okay. That's a 7.
So on a 7, you get to ask a question. Well, let me tell you what's going on. In the last couple of years, she has taken off the scorpion mask, and she has remained amongst the unicorn. She speaks and agitates for action against the scorpion, obviously, and she continues to brood on that. It is in the last few months that she has gathered a cadre of young unicorn, those who have fallen out with their families, who are kind of on the edge, and she has a group of, I don't want to say followers, but something like that, people who look to her as someone who's been tempered by the world.
Mm-hmm.
What is your question?
What dangers is it hiding?
She received a sword. You know the sword is corrupted. You know that the sword has a name. The sword's name is loyalty.
And just for the background, that is the virtue of the scorpion.
The blood swords that were created years ago were each, the few that were made were tempered to one of the sort of the virtues of the samurai, but twisted that in a dark way.
Gotcha. This is something tied into the Scorpion clan.
Well, the Scorpion clan, each clan sort of has a virtue that in the fiction that they are kind of devoted to, the sort of the force of strength. Virtue is what drives the Crab clan, and martial skill is what drives that virtue drives the Lion clan, and I think grace drives the Crane, and it's loyalty, devotion, like loyalty within the household, that the Scorpion pride themselves that their people are loyal to a fault, to the death. And so
Gotcha.
for her, this would be a wonderful irony. She doesn't realize it's corrupted, but there's a certain irony to bearing this sword.
And probably why she's gathered such a following.
Boy, they do seem devoted.
So, yeah, I think I'd take that information into trying to search through the family's wonders from beyond to find the right ritual or item that will break this connection. Something that's tied to blood, something that's tied to affecting people's minds would help me narrow that down.
So let's have you roll reach.
Advantage on good Lord. That's a 9. Plus 1 is 10.
Look at you rolling a big number.
I can do it.
Like, you're rolling like a big boy now. So describe to me the item that you find, and then we'll choose a downside for it.
I think this is a ritual. It's an oil in a sealed and sort of enruned urn that needs to be mixed with her blood and then bathe her in it to separate the two of them, to wipe that connection to the sword away.
And does it seem like be useless afterwards? Like a one-use thing? Or is there something else that you want?
I'm always tempted by its banned by Imperial Edict, but a one-use does make sense as well.
Okay. When we come back, we'll zoom in on that maybe. How does that sound? Let's come back to the Crab Clan, who have not caused problems in other places. In fact, have only brought joy to the Empire. You muted.
Yeah, that particular tone of voice is scary. Okay, so let's see here. I think that let's see. God, what are we? Oh, I know. We had should I work on the project? Should I do something else?
One of the classic ones is read the wind to find out where a surplus or a resource is.
Yeah.
It's always, you know, if nothing else, that's always a useful maneuver to do.
Okay. And I think that we will do that. It does seem like there's a sort of strange, yes, let's do read the wind. I'll do it internally. Turn back to the crane.
To grab.
There's this crab. Turn back to the crab and see what it is that they know of.
What are you looking for? What surplus do you seek? It can be ephemeral.
Yeah, and I think that with the Cooney finding this in the Asahina, they mark it as a broader problem, that if this has happened here, that it's happening elsewise. And I think that what they look for is some way that they can move quietly and quickly. Like they want subtle passage to go to their investigations, because this is going to be a time of turmoil. And once, you know, the whole thing with the blood speakers and the Maho breaks out, it's going to be a lot of turmoil, and turmoil that will sap the crab's resources. If that
So
makes
you're
any sense.
looking for spies.
We are looking for spies, yes. I never thought I would say that.
Oh, but things change.
Right. And besides, there's all these honorable Scorpion Ronin who need. Oh, we know what a failure looks like anyway.
No.
So should I do the read the wind to find
Read the
out?
wind. Roll with reach.
Okay. So I think my reach is, I have advantage is what I get. I don't get, and then I subtract 1 from it. So, okay, so a 10 minus 1 is a 9. It could have been if I had reach.
So how you want to know how to get spies?
And I should say eyes elsewhere in the empire that could help us prioritize where the Kuni go next.
I think that will require reviving and boosting the fortunes of one of the minor clans. That there is a minor clan that has been sort of off the beaten path and forgotten in all of this, and has eyes and ears in many places, but is often overlooked. And they are, how do I put this? They are sort of in dire straits, as it were, financially and so on. And that is the Sparrow clan.
Oh, are they not vassals to the Crane themselves?
No, they are not vassals, but they used to be of the Crane, and they were created when their daimyo many years ago overstepped himself. And so the Crane created them as a minor clan and gave them the shittiest land possible. They are consummate diplomats and consummate standing at the back of room and nobody notices them figures.
All right. The crab will do what they can to aid the sparrow for the good of the empire. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll come back to that. I think
I
if
love
you
the
can,
sparrow clan.
yeah,
by the
if you
way.
can gain influence on them, if you can figure out a way to do that, that's certainly a way to then get that as a surplus.
Okay.
Okay.
And if I recall, don't they have like land that's like along the shore? It's just
Yes,
not a
it's
particular.
rocky, barren shoreline.
Excellent. Exactly what the Yuzuki and their
Yeah,
smugglers would
hard,
like.
hard scrabble living.
Yes, okay. All right.
Doji Setsume, do you think that conversation with Hikaru went well?
No, I can't say it went well. I tried to give help and he was somewhat rude. B, I'm not sure that he's going to handle this problem, and he set a task for me, which seems well above his station, but all the same, we are friends, and I do want to help him, and the blade is a stain on Crane until it's taken care of. So, I have a kind of a two-parter here, Lowell, if I can.
Let's see it.
First off, I want to spend my koku. Where is the brother? Right tool for the right job.
Oh, okay. The brother is hidden away in the mountains, along with the rest of his blood speaker comrades.
Oh, fucking whore. Sorry. Oh, no.
That's a fallout from a fail, by the way, last time.
Oh, no. My fail?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, that's a shame. Okay. But I know where.
If she sees how far her brother has fallen, then she will realize.
Maybe it'll be a cautionary tale.
Mm-hmm.
And I know which mountains. I know where.
Yeah, you know where this sort of bandit camp of Maho lie.
Are they mountains near me, or are they way up? No, where are they?
They lie between the unicorn and the scorpion. Essentially, he survived, and some others, and they have taken up this to fight the scorpion.
Okay. And since I've spent something, the other thing I'm going to do, because Crane just can't be bereft. I worked hard for someone else. Crane needs to get its beak wet. I'm going to the Emperor.
Its beak wet.
I'm going to the Emperor and asking if I can have that Silkworks. So I'm using my favor to using favor.
So you will go. Let's have you roll.
All right. This is the nice way. I could be doing awful. I'm trying to be a good member of the court. Come on. That's an 8.
With your favor?
Yeah.
So the Emperor says, you are a loyal subject, and you have turned the fortunes of the Crane around and helped to re-honor them. I know you've lost much in these times, and I know this has been difficult, and I know that other circumstances have occurred alluding to the Asahina. I will give you control of the Silkworks with the condition that this season's production must go to the Monkey Clan to support them in their efforts.
For mechanics, it means I don't get it yet, but next season it'll come in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it says, and if you do that, then it will be yours. The grant will be yours free and clear. It will be, if you can do that. Is that, I know that it is asking a lot of you.
No, my emperor. It is a kindness on your part. We are happy to help Monkey present themselves in finery so that in the future our plumage may shine.
This is because we bring the Ronin in does not mean we will have to lose the values that make us samurai.
Yes, my emperor, and I would say, if you will permit,
Speak freely.
there are many who are questioning bringing the Ronin in. I myself see the wisdom of it. But I ask, my emperor, have patience with those who may speak against it. For tradition must be overcome with wisdom. For tradition is never burnt away. It is what makes us strong.
That is true. And I will grant you that. But I sit on the throne of a broken lineage. The Hantai is no more. I am the first of a new tradition.
Of course, my emperor.
That is not that I disagree with what you were saying, but I wish to point that out. I will respond with gentleness and mercy. But if push comes to shove, I will send a fully armed battalion to put my boot on them.
To remind them of your love.
I do not think it will come to force, but I will, if needs be, I will go to that. But I will keep in mind the words you've spoken to me.
And should it come to that, Crane will be beside you as always, my emperor.
Thank you. Let us come back to Shinjo Hikaru.
Hello.
What do you want to do? Do we want to do a clan move, or do we want to do a Hikaru move? Goodbye.
Oh yeah, that is the one problem, is I cannot keep my hands out of frame. But I don't particularly know what he just found out.
Should we just do you want to go and talk to Raiko? Do we want to do that scene? Do we want to zoom in on that?
Yeah, I think so.
Are you saying Reiko or Riku?
Riko, the Naganori, let's say.
Okay. Yeah, I think I need to go talk to her. Okay.
How do you frame the scene?
Could get problematic.
Yeah, where do you find her?
I think I find her at the Saibatsu, the new extension of the stables that's at the foot of the mountains. It's just on the other side from where the Naganori home used to be. Is still, but not theirs, I suppose. I think that's where she's been having success gathering people.
And she's not hostile, but she maintains that distance. She knows that she owes you for the life that she's led over these last few years, but there's still, she's tempered that resentment down against you and turned it more towards her hatred for the scorpion. And she will greet you, Shinjo Hikaru Sensei. She has that sword right by her. It's gorgeous. Hilt is beautiful. The scabbard is in just that lovely crane Asahina brilliant pattern to it.
Naganori-san, it has been too long. How have you been this last year?
I was good until events of recent days. The arguments in the yurts, your daimyo's turn was unexpected. She is daimyo, so she has wisdom with her, but it was unexpected.
The clan has gone through hard times recently. Things are unsure, and it feels like darkness is creeping in at the edges. Please, here, let me refill your tea. I know you would not have me here, and I have respected that, but I felt I could stay away.
You are my senior, so I have no cause to say that you cannot be here.
No, I'm not your senior. I've been cast down, and even if that were not so, I owe you far too much. I owe you debts that can never be repaid, and
let us not speak of that.
But that is what I come to speak of.
You are here to pay your debts?
In a way, I've been searching for something that would make this right between us for years, something that would help restore your faith in this world and the path forward. And I think I found him. Your brother, he lives yet. He did not die on that terrible day.
You're certain? You know this? Where is he?
I do not know yet. I have people searching for him, but it won't be long. We will find him. You can come and reclaim him, bring him home. But there is a cost. There is a problem.
A cost I have not already paid?
A cost I'm hoping to save you from, but I fear one that may already be too late. That thing that weapon at your side. It is not what you think it is.
My sword?
It's not a sword. It is a burden. It is a weight around your soul. It is a curse that it's working your way into your blood and may never come out unless you work now to expunge it. Would you go to your brother? Would you rescue him with a taint upon your soul? Would you see him with the darkness working its way inside of you?
Please roll cunning.
Can I? This is what, find common ground, is it?
I think so. I think this is, we're going to modify this, but that's finding common ground.
So I have the wretch move from the priest, where when you rely on humility and asceticism before a superior, which she obviously isn't, but I've been treating her as and called her out as.
Then let's have you roll that first.
Cool, because that might give me advantage on find common ground, and I
Absolutely.
need every little bit I need here.
Always a chance.
Oh god, that's a 7.
You have one hold. I was hoping you'd fail.
I know, because you're evil like that. But I'm going to spend that hold for advantage on find common ground. So I'm trying my best, and I'm offering her hope to save her brother. That won't go wrong. Glah! Well, I'm glad I didn't have to deal with those 2 1s. So it's 7 plus nothing. Cunning is nothing. So 7.
Clock ticks. You promise me that we will find and save my brother?
I swear to you, on my name, on my clan, we will find him and we will bring him back.
Trade me your sword, and I will give you this one.
There is a moment. There's a catch in his face, but then he shakes his head at being stupid. He undoes the belt and pulls it off.
And you put it out there, and she takes that and she says, we trade souls in this. Sword is our soul, so they say. I don't know if I believe that or not. There's much I thought I believed that I don't anymore. But you will have your blade back when my brother is returned and safe. This you will do with as you will. And she will reach out, take your blade, and push this blood sword towards you.
Explain to her the ritual and the need to cut off the corruption.
Prepare it. I will do what needs to be done.
Good.
What do you do with the sword, Patrick?
I definitely don't draw it, but we do need to get it back into our hoard of wondrous items to be studied and possibly inspire works in the future. But definitely to keep it out of other people's hands.
Definitely.
It's safest in our hoard. We keep many cursed items under wraps.
Absolutely.
We're doing good for everyone.
And eventually you'll have your niece and nephew go out and pull these items back from the world at some point. But anyway, I'm not going to have you roll disarm to avoid the pull of this thing, but you know it's danger. You know that it sings a song, and you know that it binds people to it. But she takes your blade and she puts it through her belt.
Well, that went perfectly. I can't imagine how any of this would turn out badly.
I think that's where we're going to stop tonight, actually. I think that's a high point to end on. But you saved her from a corruption that would have destroyed her and possibly destroyed your clan.
Is it a change of heart?
Yes.
Wow.
We will come to that next time. Because I do think, actually, I think the scene is you stepping out, feeling deflated, defeated, this blade in your, wrapped and held. And I think that when you step out, you'll see the Kirin on the mountaintop waiting for you.
And I'll revise and hold on what I do with the sword. We'll see how that scene goes.
Yeah, but I think we'll start with that next time. Is you and the Kirin on the mountain? Thank you, Sherry. That was a really good point. Really good catch. I like that. So we'll stop there, and I'm going to stop the recording.